We inform your hearts. Breaking news, HQ, always here for you. Trust the word we share, news beyond compare. Stories fresh and bright, bringing truth to light. Every story counts, watch the views amount. Breaking news, HQ, always here for you. Trust the word we share, news beyond compare. In the fast-paced stream, we're your trusted team. Facts we can't ignore, bringing you much more. Breaking news, HQ, always here for you. Trust the word we share, news beyond compare. Breaking news right now, turn the volume loud. Headlines top the charts, we inform your hearts. Breaking news, HQ, always here for you. Trust the word we share, news beyond compare. Stories fresh and bright, bringing truth to light. Every story counts, watch the views amount. Breaking news, HQ, always here for you. Trust the word we share, news beyond compare. In the fast-paced stream, we're your trusted team. Facts we can't ignore, bringing you much more. Breaking news, HQ, always here for you. Trust the word we share, news beyond compare. Breaking news right now, turn the volume loud. Headlines top the charts, we inform your hearts. Breaking news, HQ, always here for you. Trust the word we share, news beyond compare.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome in. Welcome in. We're here to discuss Hurricane Helene and her aftermath and the havoc that she has reaped since she came to the shore last night at about 10:30 and just south of Perry, Florida. So today we're going to be discussing everything she did after that, and she has been a busy lady since she came on shore last night. So she was everything that they promised she is going to be, and still being that. And
she's absolutely a certified baddie.
yeah, she has.
And not only that, but it seems like she's invited some of her friends to come out over here and possibly join us.
Yeah, we'll discuss at some point. We'll also discuss the other hurricanes that are, well, we have one that's already become a hurricane and two more that have a high possibility of becoming hurricanes as well during this stream. So we'll get started. Last night Hurricane Helene came in, like I said, south, made landfall about 10:40 p.m. last night Eastern time, just south of Perry, Florida. Came in at a sustained 146 mile per hour winds as a Category 4, and was well on her way to becoming a Category 5. I think she just ran out of time. Is the only reason, or space to become a Category 5. Is the only reason why she didn't. She, as we saw last night, she did a lot of wind damage, and it was, of course, it was dark, so we couldn't see what all kind of damage she did. So today we're finding out what real damage she has done. Last night we saw some of the wind damage last night as we covered her coming on shore from the hurricane watchers, so our storm chasers. So today we're going to see the storm surge came in after that. High tide last night unfortunately came in right after Hurricane Helene, so it's like it followed her in at 12:16 last night was high tide and down and on Florida coast. So of course that brought in tons of storm surge like they promised. They promised 10 to 20 foot, and what we're hearing, they got 10 to 20 foot in areas of storm surge. So we'll start off. I was going to pull up some stuff we can watch, the videos of the storm damage that's been surveyed today. This is in Citrus County, Florida, which is near Cedar Key. So let's
from this location and this intersection that you're looking at right now. So it really just puts into perspective how far it was pushed back. Now, we know that over 100 people have been rescued. Those are still happening. Like I said, downtown Crystal River, really not accessible right now. Those airboats have really kind of been showing us what the damage and devastation is like out there. So all we can really say right now is that this is what it's going to look like for the rest of the day. And we're hoping that we can ourselves get on an airboat soon to kind of show you what it's like on the water. But I actually do want to read you. I did manage to get in touch with the mayor of Crystal River, and I want to read you that text message because it was really quite heartfelt. He cares about this community so much. He said, "We're so grateful that you're here. We're doing okay. Unfortunately, the city is an absolute mess right now. First and foremost, we want to make sure that anyone that needs to be rescued is, and once the water goes down enough, we will get our public works crews throughout the city to clear debris and make the road passable." I also want to do mention and give a shout out to Duke Energy. They've got pretty high water trucks, and they've been out for the last couple of hours trying to get the power restored. Last time I checked, there was more than 20,000 people across the county without power, but a couple of hours before that, it was over 35,000. So it shows that they're actively trying to turn the lights on. I know Evan has been showing you some of the devastation in Homosassa, so it really is countywide. We'll send it back to you guys.
All right, Jude. Thanks. See you later on. And we're going to take a break.
Thanks.
We'll be right back.
To assess what their situations are. They are very fearful that this has been the worst storm surge that this area has ever taken. listen to what some of these folks had to say. They are completely petrified about what they're going to find when they get back to their homes.
The water is at least 12 feet down there. We spent the night here, and I'm telling you, I was scared. I was so scared I was holding my baby dog, hoping my trailer wouldn't flip over. It was the worst experience of all the other hurricanes. I lived here for 35 years, and this has probably been the worst I've had to deal with because I was in my trailer.
Many times, depressing, scary, just don't know what you're coming home to.
And so right now, you know, the other piece of good news is that, you know, according to people here, they have been telling me all morning that they do believe that all of their neighbors did obey the sheriff's very dire warning that they simply had to leave their homes last night, that it was just not going to be safe. Of course, we can't know that that's 100% true until people start getting back there and assessing all of the damage. But if there's, you know, any thing to take away from this, it's that when these warnings come through, especially from law enforcement saying that we will not be able to get you if you don't leave, and that people did obey those warnings, then that's a good thing. But again, you know, life has changed for a lot of people here up in Citrus County this morning, Russell.
All right, Evan, hard to hear. Thank you.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Should be high tide around 7 o'clock this evening, which will probably bring additional flooding.
So you can see some of the damage there around Homosassa and that area and around Citrus County. I'm going to leave that up. That's a long video playing with no sound while we play some of the other stuff. You can just kind of see what's going on there, or has been going on there all day from it. But we have some other videos from Florida that aren't quite as long, so we'll let that one play while we talk about all the other stuff that Helene has done. Again, welcome in. We're talking about the aftermath of Hurricane Helene and all the damage she did after coming on land last night about 10:40 just south of Perry, Florida. So some more in Florida. We had flooding in Clearwater from storm surge. As you heard that lady say in that video around Homosassa, they were seeing at least 12 foot of storm surge, which is, you know, falls into what they were predicting. So my hats off to the storm predictors. They were pretty dead on with this storm. They said it was going to be a 4 when it made landfall, and they said storm surge was going to be between 10 and 20 feet in some areas. And they also said rainfall was going to be between 10 and 20 inches in places in North Carolina and Georgia and South Carolina and Tennessee. So they were dead on with this storm prediction. Usually we argue about the meteorologists missing stuff, but they were dead on in this case. So we had some flooding in Clearwater as well.
My condo is officially flooded.
Oh no. So yeah, we had some flooding in Clearwater, so I was going to show you some footage of that.
Which is right next to my condo.
Which is right next to Allie's condo in Florida. So let me back it up.
Clearwater Beach, and some video we have from there right now. And here's what it looks like tonight. You see, wow, it looks kind of like a river there, doesn't it? And this is right through Clearwater Beach. You see those homes there, one-story homes, and you wonder how they are faring right now. You worry that they may be taking on water, but you see the movement of the water kind of moving around there, and it gives you a sense, the power of water. No matter how much we want to sandbag and board up our homes, it is really no match for water like this.
It is so much water, and to think that there will be more, and we still have that wind that's out there. Just you know, all of the things that we typically see in a storm like this, but just so much more, and still so many hours to go.
Right.
again, just more flooding, just all over Florida. Tampa's also took a pounding, which I don't think Tampa was really on the radar as far as hard hit as they would get off of this storm, since it wasn't making landfall close to it. But I think because Helene swung in close enough to the west coast of Florida, when she came into the Gulf, the Tampa area got hit pretty hard as well. So we are, so let me pull up, I got some footage from Tampa as well. It's all just, just devastation in Florida from between the storm damages, from the wind, the flooding from the storm surge, the tornadoes, the wind, just the general wind. Even when the hurricane wasn't coming through, it has just caused devastation in Florida, and we'll find out soon that it has done the same thing in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, and now is even up in Ohio causing problems. So Helene was definitely everything promised and more. So see it.
And we might just get some rain up in Michigan as the result of hurricanes, but it's still at a tropical storm level, and it's about to hit
more than
Michigan.
1,000 flights.
We don't see tropical storms. We just get rain off of them.
Right.
But it's still so warm there. It's not fall temperatures. It's usually not this warm.
But I will tell you, the winds associated with this storm, even though they're no longer tropical storm strength, they're still gusting 30, 35 miles per hour, 20 and 35 miles per hour. So even at her being far inland, she has left her mark, and is still leaving her mark with the strength of her winds. I heard a report that in Asheville this morning, when she blew through Asheville, North Carolina, the winds were still blowing 90 miles per hour, sustained 90 miles per hour when it came through Asheville. That is unprecedented for a hurricane that far inland to still have winds that strong. I don't believe
and that's why places like Tennessee, they didn't expect the dams to have problems.
Right. We'll be talking about here shortly. Tennessee has been ravaged today, along with these other states, and they weren't expecting quite as much damage as they have seen in Tennessee today. But the winds were still strong when they got to Tennessee, and they got a lot more rain in Tennessee than they were expecting off of this storm. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. Here's some more coverage of this is in the Tampa area.
Before time runs out. He also urged those who plan to stay to take a comprehensive look at their situation before doing the damage, though she said the storm eventually could have a significant impact on several states to the north of there.
No pasa nada.
with maximum sustained winds of 120.
So you can see Tampa also was not spared any of the damage, and they're still flooding there today. That was more of the stuff I think was yesterday during the storm, but they had storm surge there 10 to 12 feet, so it was just crazy. Now Cedar Key is a little town that's near Perry where landfall was made, and we have some drone footage of the damage that was there, and so you can see kind of what happened there. And this is only a small portion of the damage. They've been showing the damage all day long in this little town. So you'll see here, it's just crazy the amount of damage as this drone flies through. This is a little town got pounded. Like I said, this is a little bit west of where it made, east of where it made landfall.
This game, you're not ready for.
I mean, just look at the devastation this poor little town took from this storm. I mean, it is toppled buildings, and I'm not sure if this is a fairly long drone coverage of the town, so you may see it, but we saw some other coverage this morning. Just boats in the middle of the road, boats in people's yards, houses torn down, trailers flipped over. It's the devastation that Helene brought not only to Florida but to the other states in the southeast. I don't remember a hurricane doing quite this much damage over such a wide swath of area, all the way up through the inlands of the United States.
And really, we got quite fortunate because when she made landfall, she was a Category 4. So she didn't become a Category 5 simply because she ran out of time. She had more time, she would have been a Category 5 for sure. And she maintained Category 4 for at least 3 hours, I'd say, last night.
She was gaining 10 miles per hour of speed about every hour.
And one of the things I was saying, we predicted that this actually might be a worse hurricane because the ocean temperatures they're so much higher than they normally are. The water is so hot. So it's just fueling. It's like crack for these. It's like crack for these hurricanes.
And the National Hurricane Center has said for the last couple of years these hurricanes are going to continue to get worse and worse because of global warming, because the temperatures in the summer are trending in the oceans and in the Gulf are trending a lot higher than they used to trend. So, which, like Allie was saying, that's just like crack for these hurricanes. It's fuel for the fire, and they're just getting worse and worse.
And I did see a report. I was trying to look up more information about those 2 storms that are out in the ocean right now. And there was a report that, and this is, I mean, I'd have to have Tony look into this more, but it said that they might extend the parameters for hurricane season because it just stays warmer for longer, so those conditions are much farther into the year than normal. And I don't know exactly when hurricane season is supposed to end, but I mean, they were thinking of extending it at least another month, which makes sense because I was looking at the Farmer's Almanac for Michigan for the winter, and again, it's just predicting 2 snowstorms, but it's just going to be more wet. We're not going to have a white Christmas again. So with everything changing, I wouldn't be surprised if the hurricane season gets extended.
Yeah, the typical hurricane season in the past has ended on November 1st. But, you know, I heard the same thing that you heard, and it is definitely, they're talking about the possibility of it since winter doesn't start as early as winter used to start. So it would not surprise me at some point that they extend the season, or, you know, because just to put people on watch for it, because, you know, a lot of people think, okay, November 1st, hurricane season is over, and, you know, we could still, with the waters are still warm enough, even after season ends, you can still have hurricanes. But you can see as they're flying through this town, it just literally just devastated this town. And, you know, it makes you wonder how many of these people come back and rebuild here. I know typically people do. I mean, you know.
And that's why I was saying in the Cedar Key area when we were off the mic for a little bit while the video was playing, I said, I don't think that it would be worth it for them to try to fix any damage from this, at least in Cedar Key. So some of these places have small little islands, and Cedar Key's more like a little island, and the population is only like 720. So I would take the money. Homeowners will get, you know, if they have insurance, they will, but I would work on the infrastructure and at least the sewers system there, because just from, and Tony will get into this, from an environmental aspect, the sewer damage can be deadly.
Right, you'll see the highlight a little bit. Sorry, I mean to interrupt you, but the highlight a little bit on that. All this water, of course, has flushed in through stormwater systems, septic tanks, and all that stuff is washing that water. And you'll see people and this wandering around these, not just this hurricane, other hurricanes wandering around the water that aren't. They're in shorts and flip flops out there in this water. Well, there's all kinds of feces and everything else that's come out of septic tanks and wastewater treatment plants, dead animals and stuff like that, and they're out there, and you'll see people letting their kids play in this water. It's like, do they realize what they're actually walking in and letting their kids play in? So it's an environmental nightmare, because, you know, the hepatitis C and stuff that ends up coming away from this storm that people don't realize they're being exposed to, because to them it's just, oh, that's just water out the Gulf. Well, yeah, it's partly water out of the Gulf that's also washed through all this other nasty stuff and brought it to the surface that you're walking in. So it's a nightmare. Somebody was there this morning. They said it just the town reeked of, just for lack of a better term, shit. I mean, because of the way it flooded out their wastewater treatment plant, it wiped out washed up all their septic tanks. So it's just a nightmare.
And I don't think it would be really a good idea for them to try to reinforce some of these buildings. I said that, you know, with it being only 720 people, just fix the infrastructure so God forbid something else happens, and then let people, you know, use it as like RV parks or camping parks. Let people come in and start to rebuild. People that want to open a resort or something, and that's how they'll get money back. But just completely rebuilding is just going to spend so many resources.
And that's what they saw last year. Now I can't remember the hurricane's name that went through Fort Myers last year. That was
Ian?
I think it was Ian. It was a Cat 4 or Cat 5. I can't remember. Ivan. Maybe it was Ivan. That sounds even more like it. But it completely decimated Fort Myers, and that's kind of what they did. They kind of just tore everything down, and they had investors come in because a lot of people weren't interested in rebuilding there. So investors came in and swept in and bought up all this stuff, and it's becoming more of like a resort town. And they're still in the rebuilding process, but they, you know, it's their plan is to build back better. So. But you can just see, none of these houses or condos or whatever those are, none of them are structurally sound anymore. All of them, you can see, are off kilter, and they're going to have to be torn down and completely rebuilt. Bless you.
We have an evac order for that Lake Lure.
Yeah, Lake Lure, North Carolina. We're moving up a little bit. And such. They at Lake Lure, they're in North Carolina. They're evacuating the area because of the flooding, and we're moving that way next after this video, so we can discuss that as well. So you can see that's just some of the devastation. That by far doesn't cover all the devastation from this hurricane, as you can imagine, in Florida. But we're going to, just so we can get to everywhere, we're going to move up a little bit to Georgia, where they got flooding as well. And here's a video in Georgia.
You have word that we have Bob. So let's bring in Bob Van Dillon. First off the bat, Bob, we're watching video of you saving this woman. Are you guys okay? That's the most.
All right, in Atlanta, we had flooding last night after it came through the Atlanta area somewhere around like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe around 4ish in the morning. This shows you the flooding that Atlanta got. And I'm currently looking up how the rain totals for all these cities while y'all are watching this video. But it's just watch this. This is downtown Atlanta that got flooded like this. Not an area that's on the coastline. Not an area that has a lot of, you know, rivers and stuff running through it. This is the devastation from just pure torrential downpours.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we put her in the car. She was cold. I gave her my shirt. Her husband's going to pick her up. The fire truck came. They're good. Everyone's good. So let's get back to it. It was this car right over there.
Okay.
No.
We're watching.
Hey, do not go. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
We're still
don't
watching
go down
video.
This way.
By the way, if you're just joining us, this is video from earlier.
way.
You're hearing Bob's live mic because, of course, this is an active situation. But you're watching video of what happened. Now we're back live. So, Bob, we have your live
is that
camera.
Your ride right there? Okay. Yeah. You can keep the shirt. It's all good.
It must be her husband.
Right,
He said her husband was coming.
No, it's yeah. So here you go, you guys. I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
No, that's okay. Take your time, Bob. For viewers that are just joining us,
fire department's gone.
We'll give Bob a second to catch his breath. For viewers that are just joining us, Bob literally just saved a woman from flood water. She drove into it. Bob, now that you've sort of had a second, because this is a very active situation, you have first responders. Bob, we're going to pass it off to you.
Reunited. There you go. Yeah, you guys reunited. All right, good. You're good. You good? Yeah, don't. Yeah, man. Hey, absolutely. Hey, absolutely. Yeah, of course. Anytime. I'll do it again. Don't go that way. Go this way, all right?
So I don't know what's going on there.
It's it's flooded out. It was up to my chest. So and I dragged her out, but she's fine. She's just cold. Get her a blanket. Yeah, you can keep the shirt. Nah, keep it. It's all yours. All right, so this is what's going on, you guys. This is the Peachtree Creek, and we had the video before of all the rescues that were going on. It's about a mile down the way. 60 people rescued from that apartment complex. It's a Peachtree Park apartment complex. And Craig, you like this. 12 pets were also rescued too. So yeah, see you guys later. Hey, be safe, all right? Yeah. So, hold on. Say? Bob.
Bob.
Yeah.
Bob, thank you.
Yeah, nice.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Yeah,
I'll do it again. Hey, good luck. All right. So you got all this water that's down here that's cascading in. This Peachtree Creek, you guys, it's almost at a record stage. It's been higher before. It was 23.5 feet right now. The highest it's ever been has been about 25 feet. That was back in 1919. So if you go over here, you can see just the rushing water effect. It's absolutely insane. So this is where it looks like. This is what we're watching. You go all the way down there about a mile. That's where all those apartment complexes were being evacuated, right? With all the high water rescues. That was before the sun started coming up. So that was in the dark. Now, if you look at the raging waters of the Peachtree Creek, man, it is just flowing down. You got some debris in there too. You can see a little bit of a tree branch going down. It's not quite to the bottom of the bridge right there. That's a Northside Drive bridge, but it is flowing in that direction towards the Chattahoochee. So yeah, you guys, this is a dangerous situation. Obviously, it's what we say in the business, very kinetic. We've got a lot of things that are going on right now, but it looks like everybody's safe at this point. So at least we've got that. Unfortunately, more rain is in the future, like 1 to 2 inches worth, you guys. So as that storm pivots around us, you guys have been looking at the radar picture, we've already seen over 9 inches of rain in 3 days. You add to it another 1 to 2, and we're going to probably see more situations like this.
And I'm not sure where everybody is from in our chat, but you tell me, have you ever seen anything like this in Atlanta? I just looked it up, some of the rainfall totals in Georgia. This is just give you an idea. In the Atlanta area, they got 9.6 inches of rain over 3 hours last night. Marietta got 9.6. Canton, Georgia, which is just north of Atlanta, got 10.1 inches. Blairsville, which is near the Georgia-South Carolina coast, or excuse me, border, not coast, it had got 10.3 inches of rain. That is just over 3 hours. That is a ton of rain in a short period of time. Hence why we're seeing this type of flooding. So you tell us, have you seen this type of flooding before where you're at, or even in the Atlanta area? I can honestly say I have not.
Yeah, Bob, we're looking at radar right now, and you can see the backside of this. This is actually the leftover western eye wall of Helene. My concern, Bob, is that over the last hour, what we've noticed on radar is that it's almost like this chunk of the storm got left behind. It's like the trough isn't picking it up, and now we have this upper level low that's kind of playing in a dance here. So my concern is we can see the cutoff. It's all the way down by Peachtree City. That's the end of it. It's so close to you guys. You guys are so close to reprieve, but it's like we just can't get movement here.
No, it's just pivoting. And the reason why we're actually on the wet side at this point and not the windy side, which, listen, our news has definitely changed. It went from anticipated multiple power outages to just plain old high water at this point. It's because it had so much momentum when it came into the Big Bend area. This thing had a Category 4 strength, right? 140-mile-per-hour winds, wide. That upper level low wasn't steering it for anything. It just kept on going in middle Georgia. Now that it's weakening, it's starting to get caught up in that circulation. It's going to start bending up to the north a bit farther. It's quick moving, right? Weren't you guys saying it was moving north at like 30 miles per hour?
Yes.
It's going to get into Tennessee later this afternoon.
Yeah, and now we're in that dance where everything's kind of congealing.
Bob, I got to tell you, for people who are watching who don't know you, you're the guy that people want to hang out with because you're a good guy. You're very humble, and you're probably not going to want to talk about this, but I have to ask you, as you heard the woman that you were rescuing now from her car, you go into the waters. What was it like? Because you are tall, and it looked like the water was up to pretty close to your chest.
You're over
at least
6
over
feet
6 feet tall.
Yeah, you could see it. Well, I was obviously worried about the water temperature, and the water temperature is pretty warm. I thought it was.
I want to thank everybody that's in here. I'm gonna stop the video for a second. Stop the video for a second. Thank everybody for being here.
Kind of just gonna go over the game plan for the rest of today.
Right, we're gonna finish covering this. This is just kind of an update of the aftermath and the havoc that Helene had caused last night, this morning, and is still causing. But we want to thank everybody for being here. We love our fans. We thank you for being here. We don't just cover this type of breaking news with the storms and stuff like that. We do other breaking news like crimes, manhunts, any type of breaking news that comes up. We try to also have fun while we're doing it. I know this is sort of a serious subject, so don't want to make too light of it, but we try to have fun while we're doing it have a bright side while we're watching some of the bad side. So we're gonna finish covering this up here next 30 minutes to an hour, and then later on tonight we're gonna be playing Grand Theft Auto on our other channel, which is on Overdose on Laughter, which is a little more lighthearted. You can find a link to it in the description for this channel. Please, if you like watching people game, and we do all kinds of other fun stuff on there, please go over there and subscribe to that channel so when we go on and do that as well. We play GTA, we watch funny clips, we'll play Call of Duty some, so please join us over there as well. But thank you everybody for being here. Going back to our video that we're watching, that poor lady that reporter drug out of the floodwater looked like she was holding on for dear life. She was doing okay, but I'm not sure she wasn't choking him out as he was walking out of that water. But he got her out there, so kudos to him. So we'll finish watching the Atlanta area, and then we'll talk about North Carolina, and Tennessee is getting ravished today. So we'll talk about that in just a minute as well.
And we do have evacuations in North Carolina. The National Guard's going in there to get a bunch of patients and staff off of a roof of a hospital.
And that's in North Carolina. They just did one earlier today. We're going to watch a video in a little bit in Tennessee, the same thing from the flooding. So that's why I asked if it was North Carolina or not. Okay, I'm going to start this video back up, but please, if you have anything you want to know about, let us know in the chat, and we'll be glad to answer it or look it up for you. Thank you all for being here.
It's going to be cold. It's not. It's probably about 80 degrees. I was worried about that. I was worried about the current.
Right.
But as soon as I started going there, I was like, screw it. I'm getting her. And unbuckled her seatbelt, pulled her out, and put her on my back. And she, she's fine. Everything
awesome.
Worked out fine.
Bob, stay with us. Yeah. Don't go anywhere. But we do want to play a bit of the video so our viewers can see what we're talking about. So stay with us and roll the clip.
See right here, we've got this this lady drove into the area that's flooded out, and she's screaming right now. I just called 911. Fire department is coming in, but she drove right into the flood waters. This is the Peachtree Creek, and it is rising at the moment. We've got this thing cresting at about 23 feet. It's going to go up a little bit more. This, by the way, we had the video of the high water rescues earlier. That was about a mile away from this spot where I am right now. So people are still driving around and seeing all these floodwaters and still going around the barriers and getting in. So I am patiently waiting for 911 to come. They said the fire department was coming from Atlanta. I'm in North Atlanta right now on the corner of Northside Street, Northside Drive. It's a pretty big populated area right here. She is still screaming, but we got you. We got you. 911, they're coming. You're good. You're good. Oh man, it's a situation. We will get back to you in a little bit. I'm gonna go see if I can help this lady out a little bit more, you guys. I'll be back.
Yeah. All right, Bob has got to.
And then there is Bob carrying her out. So for our viewers, Bob was doing a live shot for Fox and Friends. That's who he was talking to while he was hearing that lady scream in the background. He had already called EMS. He had already called 911. And then this is video of Bob pulling her out. Bob is over 6 feet tall. He's like 6'4". And you can see that the water is up to his chest, and he has her on her back. Bob, let's bring you back into this conversation because you've been, standing by. I can't even imagine. This is your hometown. This is where you live. I'll just give it to you.
I could.
Can you even
listen,
wrap your head around what just happened?
Not really. I just know that it was taking forever. 911. I mean, 911 is swamped with calls. I totally get it. Fire department, the police, the ambulance, swamped. And I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait anymore. So luckily I took the phone and my wallet out of my pants and I just went out there. I'm not that tall. I'm only 6'1". With the shoes, the boots maybe 6'1.5".
Well, I was going to say, to me, you feel
what I was
taller
up
than
to about here.
Yeah, so I mean, hitting your chest,
No,
that's at least 4.5, 5 feet of water that you were wading through.
Yeah.
Bob, have you heard from your family? This is home to you. Have you checked in with your family?
I texted them. I haven't gotten a text back, so I assume that they're still sleeping, which is good news. That's the last I want to talk about, you guys. It's all good. We'll go weather from here on out.
And you're a very humble guy. I got it. Obviously, we know Bob personally, and Bob is a very humble person. He's not going to want to talk about this, but Bob, of course, as our jobs, we got to show it. So hats off to you.
Thank you.
We love you. We appreciate you going in there. Of course, we're not surprised. You hear a woman crying for help. You're a dad. You're a husband, you're a brother.
Good friend.
A good friend. So thank you, Bob. Thank you for what you did. Try and go get somewhat dry, which I think is impossible at this point, but we're going to let you and your crew go. You
So after Helene left, she left Georgia. She came through South Carolina, and South Carolina got I couldn't find a whole lot of footage of South Carolina, but the upstate of South Carolina and the Midlands of South Carolina, even that wasn't really expected. It had lots of flooding, lots of wind damage, lots of stuff torn up, so lots of power outages. I keep mentioning power outages. I keep forgetting putting this graphic up. But the power outages currently, this was right at 5 o'clock. South Carolina still has 1,206,121 people with the power outages. Georgia's at 930,064 people with power outages. North Carolina's 878,342 people with power outages. Florida still has 727,800 people with power outages. That was after it got up over 1 million people last night. And Ohio has 249,591 people with power outages, all from this storm. So I kept mentioning it, and I kept forgetting to bring that graphic up. So you can see the devastation as far as like the infrastructure, along with like the wind damage to the structures. the flooding, you know, all that stuff. You can just see all the damage it's causing.
And unfortunately, we are at, 40 souls lost.
Yeah, we're close to. We just heard there's been close to 40 people that have died during this storm for one reason or another. So this storm is taking its toll. I mean, like again, Helene is no joke. I mean,
and we're monitoring active situations in Tennessee and North Carolina.
Right, there's active stuff going on in Tennessee and North Carolina right now. While I'm pulling up this video, you want to tell them what you heard about North Carolina right now?
Yeah, so we do already have videos lined up to show you the dam that broke in Tennessee. And as a result of that, there's been flash flooding and now a mudslide. And we just
Energizer 3
heard that there is another dam in North Carolina that is about to break. I guess when I heard it over the scanner for the Tennessee one, it said, what did it say? Failed or?
The dam is failing. So what essentially is happening is the dam. When they build dams, they're engineered to handle so much water. So when they built the dam, it's probably an older dam. I don't know any details about the dam itself, but when they built that dam, I know one I worked on when I lived in South Carolina. The same thing happened. They built the dam way back in the 1920s during the Depression era. So the dam was built for a certain rating of how much water is in the lake. They never thought about catastrophic flooding and stuff like that, and the pressure, extra water coming into that lake would cause for that dam. Same thing's happening in North Carolina. It's an older dam. It's rated for a certain amount of pressure and water. Well, they got all the downfalls off of Hurricane Helene, and now it's too much pressure for the dam, and that dam is starting to fail.
And they said Boone and Asheville, North Carolina, are completely underwater.
Right, we're fixing to look at a video of Asheville, or some videos of Asheville, and another dam. I don't think it's the same dam you're talking about, but we'll see. It's the one we're going to watch a dam failure on is Waterville, North Carolina. Is that the same dam that you're talking about, or is that a different one?
I think it's a different one.
Okay, there are dams in North Carolina and Tennessee failing right and left, so we'll watch one called Waterville, North Carolina here in a minute. But this is downtown Asheville from the rain from Helene and the devastation from her. While you're watching this, I'm going to look up the rainfall totals and stuff. But so I'm gonna put this video on for you, and I'll be back in just a second.
This is a live look at Clinton this afternoon right now. The rain clearly coming down pretty heavily here as we are tracking Helene and the effects that are happening here locally. I actually talked with a couple of businesses during the time our meteorologists were still in our continuous coverage. A couple of restaurants saying they're safe, but it was really loud when that rain was coming down.
Yeah, it's really been the last 2 to 3 hours where here in our area, we've really been feeling the effects of Helene when that rain finally pushed in. Meanwhile, Western North Carolina has seen so much rain. Let's go back to Sean Gallagher, who's been there live in Asheville for us to show us another flooded area there behind you, Sean.
Yeah, guys, this has been one of the hardest hit areas right here. You can see there are giant things that are flooding down here in Biltmore Village. We have seen so many large objects that have just been swept away. I'm talking, giant propane tanks, and we've seen garbage dumpsters, and whatever that may be, it's a very large trailer of some sort. But, for the majority of the day, it's just been news crews, first responders, and police. But we're starting to get a number of people out here now that there's no rain to really check some things out. I just ran into Sean and Kelsey, who are neighbors. And Sean, what made you want to come out and see this?
Well, I work maintenance for a couple of properties around here, and that's what brought me out to see if I'm going to be able to make it into work later today or tomorrow, and just to see how I can assist with what comes up.
Yeah, and Kelsey, for you, when you got out here and you got eyes on this, what went through your head?
Just devastating. I've seen it flooded before, but nothing like this ever. I just wonder, when it's going to be back to normal, really. The railroad just went through the, what was that? A railroad car. Just took out a crossing about 30 seconds ago and just floated on down. So
how does that make you feel, knowing, the neighborhood that you live in? This is what it looks like.
I drive through here like 4 days a week, and it's just devastating to see it be like this for sure. You know, I was definitely expecting like flooding, but nothing like this.
Yeah. And
so
Sean,
definitely devastating.
Sean, for you, when you see this, I mean, seeing how high it is, up to almost the awnings of that restaurant down there, I mean, how do you recover from this?
Well, you know, I grew up in a time where it was community. So, I mean, the more that anybody can help, the better off we'll be. Yeah. You know, just good neighbors, good friends, and just good people to help everybody recover from this.
Yeah.
That's all you can hope for.
And what kind of, I know you guys are a few miles up the road, but have you had any sort of destruction, flooding, anything?
A lot of trees came down in the complex where I live, and driving up and down Hendersonville Road. With the people I work with, we've been sending texts talking about what we have to deal with when we come into work tomorrow, over the weekend, or come Monday. And trying to devise a game plan on what we have to deal with at that level.
And Kelsey, I know Sean mentioned, you know, the resiliency of this community. I mean, do you have faith that this community is going to band together in this tough time?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Asheville. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Like Asheville's a good town, and everybody is seeing the damage, and I feel like we're all going to work together to get it back right for sure.
Yeah, that's great.
I think it's just a matter of time until this water goes down, because I mean, as far as trees goes, I think everybody will help clean all that up, but the water is just going to have to make its way down.
That's great. Well, thank you guys for sharing some time with me. I really appreciate it. And I will say, you know, of all the people that are out here, everybody is dealing with, you know, their own issues right now. But there are some smiles when, you know, you get these moments of break where you see these large objects going down the river. It's a moment to, you know, reflect and actually, you know, take this in as, you know, what it is, a very historic day with, you know, the record levels of flooding here. And, you know, it's been a very busy morning as well. We've been out here all morning, but so have the fire crews and police that are responding to calls. Fire crews here just in Asheville say they've had 6 water rescues, and then they've had reports of 11 down trees on homes and 18 down on power lines. And again, that's just Asheville. That's not the entire area. And this is really Buncombe County, Western North Carolina, pretty much the whole state that's being affected by this. Sean Gallagher, WRAL News in Biltmore Village.
And Sean, before you leave, you know, because I've been to the Biltmore Village before, that area, tourism, so important to them. And like you mentioned, people right now trying to find some positivity with it. That's one thing, I don't know, I just feel like it's important to mention. But
I think I may have lost you guys. I don't hear anything. I'm sorry.
Okay, it looks like we may have lost them there. But you can clearly see the road there, just all those objects floating across the,
that was very
almost
surreal
a river. It's a street.
To see large objects, boxes and containers and things just floating down there, and also to see people driving through that water. You do not want to see that. All right.
I think we have a report in the Live Center right now. We've got Michelle there. Michelle, what do you have in there?
Yeah, I want to show you a massive tree down in Garner. This is on Vandora Springs Road near Tiffany Circle. You can see Duke Energy out there, firefighters out there working to get this tree cleared off the road. Looks like it almost took some power lines down, but thankfully it did not.
So to give you an idea, you see the flooding there, to give you an idea of the rainfall that happened from the storm in North Carolina, that Asheville area got hit worse. So Greenville, Asheville, Boone, Jefferson, all that, Greenville, South Carolina, Asheville, and Boone and Jefferson got the hardest hit, but they got a lot of rain throughout North Carolina. But Asheville had 7.8 inches of rain as of 4 o'clock today from Helene. Boone had 7.1 inches, and Greenville, South Carolina got 6.2 inches of rain. So they were seeing similar stuff in Greenville, that type of flooding. So that gives you an idea of how much rain that we're talking about here.
But Cape Coral survived.
Yeah, Cape Coral survived.
Not again. This is Vandora Springs Road and Tiffany Circle. I checked Duke Energy's map just to see if there were any power outages affected by this. It doesn't look like there are too many. There were maybe 3 or 4 in that Vandora Springs area.
All right, Michelle, thank you. About an hour ago, Governor Roy Cooper held a press briefing updating the state's response to the deteriorating conditions here in North Carolina. Emergency response teams, he said, have conducted more than 100 swift water rescues already. Additional teams are coming to help from other states. And the governor also said that floods will continue to rise through at least Saturday.
With the rain that they had already been experiencing before Helene's arrival,
This is one of the worst storms in modern history for parts of western North Carolina. The end of the rain is not the end of the threat.
And State Emergency Management Director William Ray said cell service is failing in some areas of western North Carolina. He said 911 calls are being rerouted to other call centers while they work on bringing in equipment to bolster service.
And we've heard first responders say before that can be a problem, right? You have people who want to call, but you have the cell services down, so that's obviously an issue. North Carolina has actually seen hundreds of thousands of power outages today, and we spoke with Duke Energy spokesperson Jeff Brooks about the response for this.
Safety is our first priority, and our goal is to get everybody back home at the end of the day after working in really challenging conditions. So when winds get above 29 miles per hour, we really can't raise the buckets into the air to be able to do that overhead work. And so there are sometimes some stand downs for that reason. We can do some things, but right now, in much of the area that's impacted, the winds are still just too high to be able to get out. It'll probably be this afternoon before we see a lot of large scale work in those areas. And, obviously we have to put that safety of our crews first. They are working with high voltage electricity. They are working in high winds. And that's just something that we have to be extra careful about.
Yeah, you mentioned.
So that video brought up a good point. Talking about the flooding. The flooding hasn't ended just because it quit raining. A lot of people think if they haven't dealt with flooding before, hey, it's quit raining, so we're good. No, you're still got all that water from upstream to where it rained in other places that are going to come down through the rivers and stuff and continue. The flooding is going to continue through the weekend.
And I think that's one of the things I saw is that I didn't even think about this till I read in that article is that the mudslide is because of all those little streams that are constantly running down from the mountains. I didn't think about that.
Right, it's the water cycle, right? It comes from the mountains downstream. So all this flooding to this up in the mountains of North Carolina and South Carolina and Tennessee now is going to go downhill per gravity, and it's going to flood out areas that are downstream from the mountains because of all that water is picked up there. So it's all cyclical. It's going, what's uphill going to run downhill, and Asheville's not at the top, so Asheville's going to get more from Tennessee and from other places.
And
Kentucky.
I guess that might be, other flip side of the coin is that people talk about why would you ever live in Florida? Look at the damage. And we're seeing the damage today, but they don't have catastrophic flooding because that tide came in, then the tide went out, and it took a lot of stuff with it. True, people's homes have probably now gone out to sea, but they're not going to be stuck with a ton of flooding. They can get in there, start rescuing people, start cleaning stuff up, restoring power. Whereas these places that don't have the ocean there to take all that water back out,
right?
Where is it going to go?
Right, it's going to run to the ocean, but unfortunately it's got to go through the entire state of South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, on the way to the coast. So, it's not as quick of a process, and it's going to take stuff down all the way back into.
Unless we recruit all the Perry Caravellos of the world to get out their shop vacs and fly out.
Right. So, I'm going to show you a video of a little more damage in Asheville, then we'll look at that dam failing in Waterville, North Carolina. And Allie brought up a good point what people hadn't thought about. They were saying people were having trouble getting out of the area for evacuating and stuff because they weren't prepared, like in Georgia and South Carolina, North Carolina, and all these electric vehicles. That's something we've never thought about with electric vehicles. If you have to evacuate quickly in an electric vehicle and you haven't charged that baby up.
If the power goes out much more before it's expected to.
Right. it can cause a problem, and that's some of the problems that we saw with this storm. You know, it got worse in areas and was much worse in areas that wasn't expected to be that bad in. So here we'll watch a little more of the devastation in Asheville before we watch that dam failure now. So it makes you, well, you see how bad it is in Asheville with the streets being flooded out there. You know, everything's shut down. There's no power. I mean, people aren't going to be able to go to grocery stores. People aren't going to be, there's a lot of stuff that can't happen because of this storm. It was actually almost like waves going through downtown Asheville. And those people in the mountains aren't used to having that much water flowing through the streets. So you know, it's crazy to think about the people in the mountains dealing with this type of flooding. So we'll go to Waterville, North Carolina now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to 10 About Town.
I mean, maybe you don't have to say the company name, but your experience working at a dam that deals with hydroelectric.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure at the facility, the hydroelectric plant that I used to work at in the dam and stuff, they're probably letting water out now because of the high levels of it, and that it, you know, putting pressure on the lake and on the dam itself. And again, like we were just talking about, now we have rivers that run through Columbia, South Carolina, in those areas where we used to live, and you know, all that water from Greenville where it got rain just like Asheville did are now going to run downhill into Columbia and probably flood out Columbia through the weekend. So you know, it's all going,
We'll catch it on Patrol on the Reels channel.
Watch On Patrol on Friday and Saturday night on Reels, and you'll see the devastation in Columbia. So here we have this is in downtown Newport, evacuated after a dam failure in Waterville, North Carolina. This is just a short story. This is ongoing, and it sounds like there's multiple dams in North Carolina, and we'll see in Tennessee that are going through this. Let's see what they have to say here.
So
Brittany Bailey, we have.
Is there, like, if they see a lot of water or rain coming in, do they open the dam to get some water to move out?
Yeah, bigger dams now, it depends. I don't know how big this dam is that we're fixing to watch. Like bigger dams, like hydroelectric dams, they have what's called spill gates. And those spill gates are in like a what they call a spill area. So they open those gates up, and when you open those gates up, at some point I'll have to play the video. I'll have to find the video where we tested the spill gates. And you can see the sheer amounts of water that goes through those spill gates once you open them up. And usually, like the dam I worked on had 4 spill gates, and you can open up one, you can open up all 4 based on how much water, and a lot of water moves through them pretty fast. We did a test where we opened up all 4, and you can see it moving boulders the size of a semi, that because of the water pressure pushing it through. But like these smaller dams that we were talking about, they may not necessarily have a spill gate, so they have no way to release the water through the to relieve the pressure off the dam, and something's going to go and the dam just fails. So we'll see in this story how big this dam is and if it does have spill gates or not.
Breaking news right now for you. Everyone in downtown Newport, the town of Newport, is being told to evacuate and get out now. That is because the Walters Dam in Haywood County, North Carolina, has failed. TEMA officials call it a catastrophic failure. That dam is on the Pigeon River and is near Interstate 40. The water flows west from there and into Cott County. We're just learning that the Pigeon River, in fact, is at historic levels, the highest level it has ever been. It just crossed that mark. And this is why there is an immediate danger for people in downtown Newport. The Cott County mayor has also declared a state of emergency. Now, parts of Cott County were also flooded by heavy rains and the opening of Walters Dam just 3 years ago in August of 2021. Take a look at this historic footage. Downtown Newport was also evacuated then as well. Right now, we're not sure exactly what this failure means for the downtown area, but again, the mayor is asking everyone in downtown Newport to evacuate. 10 News reporter Olivia Degg is live in Cott County in the town of Newport from a high vantage point, thankfully. Olivia.
Brittany, where we're standing, we are safe, but it gives us a great vantage point of what's happening below us. And let me tell you, we got here around 11:30 this morning. The cops were starting to close off some areas. There was already some street flooding. Now downtown is a completely different scene. It's completely taken out of water. I'm going to step out so that you can see a little bit more of what's going on. It's been really fascinating to watch everything in the river. We used to be just seeing pieces of tree and debris. Now we've seen larger structures, pieces of property being taken down on that river. It is moving so fast. It has risen so quickly, and places that we were standing and taking video at just a couple of hours ago over those railroad tracks, that's now completely covered in water and is not safe to be over there. We are still continuing to monitor the situation, but we are urging everyone, along with Cott County officials, that they need to stay out of this area. It's very, very dangerous. This water is moving very quickly, and it's something that you need to be watching from a distance. This is not something to go closer up to and investigate for yourself. But Brittany, I'll send things back to you from downtown Newport.
So that was a newer dam. They said that dam was constructed in 2021, so it's a newer dam. So they should have floodgates, but I don't know any details on that dam or not. But Allie brought up a good point again about that dam. Is it possible that when they built that dam, if they put floodgates in, did they design that dam incorrectly, and those floodgates ended up spilling water back into the city from it, and that's what caused the flooding? I don't know. We don't know any other details than what we saw from that story, but that very well is a possibility. I would like to think that that's not an issue and that's not how it was engineered, but that is definitely a possibility of something that could have happened. You know, engineering mistakes do happen all the time. So, as what they say in Jurassic Park, God help us, we're in the hands of engineers. So that is the case a lot of times. So that is a little bit what's going on in North Carolina. And you told me too, there was a hospital in North Carolina. They were rescuing the people off the roof of it because of flooding. The flooding caused. I'm not exactly sure where it was at, but people got trapped. We'll see a similar story in Tennessee. People got trapped in a hospital due to flooding, and they were having to do rescues of patients and staff from the hospital because of the flooding. So after North Carolina sort of South Carolina, Helene took her havoc into Tennessee, which has been going all afternoon today. We've seen there's a dam failure in Tennessee as well. Let me see, I think I have the footage of that as well. But also, while I'm looking for that footage, here's the hospital rescue in Irwin, Tennessee today from the flooding.
In the town of Irwin, Tennessee. He's joining me now on the phone. Michael, thank you so much for joining us. Can you please tell me about the rescue efforts underway as we look at these dramatic images you took?
Thank you. Yes, this is a definitely team regional effort. We currently have, we believe we have 5 helicopters en route. There's 2 here currently from the state of Virginia or the Commonwealth of Virginia, and they're currently taking patients and staff off of the roof of the hospital and then transporting them back into the city of Irwin where they're unloaded and then, of course, brought back so they can get as many people off as possible.
Michael, so again, we're looking at these photos you took. It looks like the floodwaters really came in quite quickly there. Were you expecting flooding of this magnitude?
Absolutely not, no. So it is kind of the standard in Irwin that there was a flood in 77, and after that, the Army Corps engineers came in and fixed the berm and that the river would stay in its banks forever. Well, this is a once-in-a-lifetime storm for sure. I've been monitoring the whitewater site, monitoring the CFS, which is cubic feet per second, and how us whitewater people would measure the water. And we believe that it broke at over 93,000 CFS. This is unprecedented. We were definitely expecting, the 60,000 CFS, which was projected from NOAA. But at 93,000, it broke, and other whitewater people here with me, we're guessing that we're well over 100,000 CFS, which is cubic feet per second. I'm currently looking at the hospital. There's a helicopter on top of the hospital, and we have another one hovering nearby to start the carousel of getting everybody off. But this is a team effort. I've been on the phone with Bill Lee's team, the governor of Tennessee, and then, of course, our U.S. Representative Diana Harshbarger's office and U.S. Senator Haggerty's office. Everybody has really come together to make this happen, this rescue effort happen, because, like you said, this is not expected by no means. And I was helping Blue Ridge Paddling help, which is a rafting company here, get their rafts out. And the water came up so fast, I literally looked at the owner and said, we've got to get out of here. Wow. So, I mean, this is a serious situation. I have not heard of any reports of any casualties, but I would dare to say this is a life and death situation, and this is very serious.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it. Really quickly, Michael, just because we have to go in a moment, but can you just tell me, I understood there were as many as maybe 50 patients and staff up on that hospital roof. How many are there? Can you ballpark it now?
I cannot, no. There were over 60 on the roof, and I'm currently looking now. We have 4 helicopters circling around the hospital. So I would dare to say there's probably still at least 50 up there right now.
Wow. All right. Well, we're hoping that all the people up there are able to get to safety and that you and your community are able to recover from this, hopefully with no injuries. Michael Baker, alderman in the town of Irwin, Tennessee, thank you so much for giving us that update. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
This is your garbage trash browser, and this is Opera GX. You see this difference?
Okay, so you see the flooding that they had in Tennessee is just all across the state. So I looked up some stuff. Nashville got between almost 7 inches of rain, so almost the same amount of rain as Asheville, just a little bit less. And I found this interesting. The wind gust when they came into Nashville was still between 50 and 60 miles per hour. In Knoxville, 60 to 70 miles per hour. So they got hit just as hard as South Carolina and North Carolina and Georgia off of Helene. So she was still raging when she went into Tennessee. So here I'm gonna put up the video now of the dam collapsing at Walters Dam in Tennessee is what this one is. So let me let me bring that story up. And hold on, let me stop it for a second. So here we go. This is the story about the Walters Dam. I may fast forward through this because this is a long. We'll go towards the end of it. So this is Walters Dam in Tennessee.
That's why I said that's the only thing I'm really worried about. Because if it goes, that's going to be a big project to get back up and going.
Radar Omega isn't even showing up. Hold on. That tornado, I think, has lifted, by the way.
I don't know what that is, but it's been shot there for a minute. Almost looks like a camper, just keeps floating around underneath there. Yeah, Joshua Davis, Newport, Tennessee.
Are you all en route to 2570 Hudson Road? Copy. Dispatch asked if someone could switch over, but none of them really have radio signal. I can help you with.
Alright, I know it's janky, y'all, but I just want people to be able to see the radar. Hold on, I gotta do this as well. Give me a second. I'm definitely getting an information overload, so my brain ain't working properly. Y'all just gotta... You're covering 10,000 billion things at once.
Hit Bobby Road or something around that way and come out on North 340 or 160. You can come through here and hit South 340 and go to 2570. Affirmative, that's what we're going to try to do.
I am only one person.
Yeah, Nathan, from what the guys told me, the dam hasn't broke yet. It's still flowing like it should, but I know there was a rumor that the dam broke.
Okay. We appreciate it.
I don't think it did.
Do you guys have any patient updates?
Oh, it did break, Aaron? I've not been able to get on the
best
look.
I could hear from them over there is they've had 110-7 and another one still heavy and trapped. They said they're going to need transport.
Campers getting lifted up higher.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, rotation is getting weaker here north of Corinth in Virginia. Yeah, rotation is trying to tighten up on this tornado warned storm. This is south of Roanoke, Virginia. There's Roanoke. I'll keep my eye on that one.
So we're seeing that kind of flooding all over Tennessee. Gatlinburg is seeing flooding through downtown Gatlinburg. Kentucky and even Indiana and Ohio right now. I just saw a notice from Indiana and Ohio are both they're expecting 5 to 6 inches of rain off of this. And even Michigan is expected to get rain off of this storm. It is crazy how much rain this storm is dropping and how long the winds have held on during this storm. So we're going to continue to follow this story through Tennessee, North Carolina, because it's going to be ongoing all through the weekend between the flooding and where the remnants of Helene is at, where we're going to see, rainfalls and flooding in areas that weren't really expecting this to happen. So, you know, we're going to continue to follow this, the power outages and all that good stuff. So we'll be coming in with breaking news about that as well. Here at the end, I just want to go over the upcoming hurricanes. We do have two hurricanes. Well, Isaac is out in the Atlantic, but Isaac is turning away from the United States and going back towards Europe, so that shouldn't be a concern. Joyce has not become I think she yes, she is just a tropical storm right now, so we'll follow that. And then we have that yellow X means there's 40% chance of that becoming a hurricane off the coast of Africa. It's not showing it on here, but I checked it before we came in here. Down near Mexico, there is also another. There's a yellow X on my app, but it's another one they're expecting to form in a hurricane too. So we'll continue to watch those as well. We appreciate everybody being here. We are going to continue to follow this story. May come on later with some more breaking news if it happens. But we're here to make it through this with everybody. So we appreciate you being here. We love our fans. If you like our content, please give us a like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you know when breaking news happens. We cover as much of it as we possibly can. And also, we'll be going on later on our other channel, on Overdose on Laughter on YouTube, where the link is in the description of this channel, where we'll be playing Grand Theft Auto as police officers tonight. I think we're either playing as police officers or bounty hunters. We haven't decided yet what we're going to do, but we go in there and have a good time and laugh, try to get away from some of the stresses of the news that we cover on this channel. So thank you, everybody, for being here. We love y'all. Come back and join us again. Like I said, turn on, give us a like, turn on notifications so when we go on, you can join us. So we appreciate you being here. Y'all have a good rest of your night. If we may see you again, we may not. But thank you for being here, and we love y'all.
Breaking news right now. Turn the volume loud. Headlines top the charts. We inform your hearts. Breaking news, HQ, always here for you. Trust the word we share. News beyond compare. Every story counts. Watch the views of my